The Khooni Church Hauntings and the Whispering Shadows, Sikandar Shah's third adventure. As the sun dipped below the horizon, a dim, amber glow lingered over the streets of Lahore, slowly surrendering to the embrace of twilight. Hidden among the encroaching urban sprawl, there lay a forgotten relic of colonial history, a decaying structure overgrown with ivy and silence. Known to locals as the Khooni Church, the building exuded an air of dread. Its walls, crumbling and stained by time, seemed to hold secrets darker than the night itself. Once a place of prayer, it was now a site of nightmares. The stories surrounding the Khooni Church were grim and persistent. Decades ago, the church's congregation, nearly 50 people, had vanished without a trace. No bodies were ever found, and no explanation was given for their disappearance. Some claimed foul play tied to colonial rivalries, while others whispered of black magic. Since that fateful night, eerie occurrences plagued the site, soft whispers echoing through the halls, flickering lights in the windows despite the absence of electricity, and strange figures seen from afar, only to vanish into thin air. Sikandar Shah adjusted the strap of his satchel and glanced up at the church. A faint breeze carried the scent of damp stone and decaying wood. The church loomed before him, its Gothic spires broken, its entrance overrun by tangled vines. He had been called here after the disappearance of a young traveler, Ahmed, who had entered the church 2 nights ago and never emerged. The locals, terrified, had sought Sikandar out, telling him that the boy's fate was sealed if the whispers had claimed him. A local man told Sikandar,
"People have entered before and come back changed. They return speaking of whispers, shadows, and hands that clutch at their souls. Save him, Shah Sahib. If anyone can, it is you."
The disappearance wasn't the first time someone had gone missing here, and Sikandar sensed there was more to this legend than met the eye. Armed with his enchanted Zulfikar Talwar, a satchel of protective talismans, and the knowledge passed down to him by his grandfather, he pushed open the heavy wooden doors of the church. The interior was a haunting sight. Dust hung in the air like a veil, and faint moonlight spilled through shattered stained glass windows, casting fractured patterns on the cracked stone floor. Rows of rotting pews stretched into the shadows, leading to an altar draped in cobwebs. The whispers began almost immediately, a faint murmuring that seemed to come from every corner of the room. Sikandar moved cautiously, his boots echoing against the hollow silence. As he approached the altar, his lantern flickered, and he noticed strange symbols etched into the walls. The carvings were crude but precise, glowing faintly in the darkness. Sikandar's sharp eyes recognized them. They were part of an ancient ritual meant to summon or bind something beyond human understanding. But these symbols were incomplete, as if the ritual had been abandoned midway. The closer Sikandar examined the carvings, the more the history of the church began to reveal itself. His grandfather, Baba Rahmat Shah, had told him tales of black magic practices during the British Raj, where disillusioned colonials sought forbidden power to maintain their hold over the land. A disgraced pastor, Reverend Edward Hollis, was said to have dabbled in the occult, seeking divine strength through dark rituals. The congregation, desperate for miracles in a time of unrest, had joined him in a midnight ceremony, but something had gone horribly wrong. The incomplete carvings suggested an interrupted spell, one that neither summoned divine aid nor bound dark forces. Instead, it had trapped all those who had attended the congregation, their souls tethered to the church and doomed to wander its halls for eternity. Sikandar remembered his grandfather's words.
Magic, either complete or interrupted, never dissipates. It corrupts, festers, binds and consumes all those who are a part of it.
As Sikandar approached the altar, he noticed faint drag marks on the dusty floor, leading to a hidden hatch behind the pulpit. He pried it open, revealing a narrow staircase descending into darkness. A blast of cold air hit him as he descended, his lantern flickering against the damp stone walls. At the bottom of the staircase, he entered a crypt lit by a faint, otherworldly glow. The whispers became deafening, their words fragmented and desperate. At the center of the crypt was Ahmed, the missing traveler, lying unconscious and bound by spectral chains. Around him stood shadowy figures, their translucent forms flickering like dying flames. These were the souls of the congregation, trapped and restless, their faces distorted with anguish.
Leave. He is trapped with us now. You cannot undo what has been done.
Sikandar drew his talwar, the blade glowing with a blue ethereal light as it hummed with protective magic.
You've suffered long enough. Let me free you.
A large, menacing shadow appeared. It hissed and lunged at him, its form twisting into a swirling mass of darkness. It was the demon who had trapped them. Sikandar slashed through the air, the talwar's magic cutting through the shadows like a blade through smoke, but it reformed quickly, its rage unabated. Realizing that brute force wouldn't work, Sikandar turned his attention to the crypt's walls. More symbols had been carved here, glowing faintly. They were part of the same ritual, but here too, they were incomplete. Dodging another attack, Sikandar reached into his satchel and pulled out a piece of chalk. Chanting an incantation he had learned from his grandfather, he began erasing the symbols, replacing them with verses from the Holy Scripture, his movements quick and deliberate. The demon howled in protest, its attacks growing more desperate, but the talwar's glow protected him as he worked. With the final mark completed, the crypt erupted in light. The demon screamed. Its form, along with all the other trapped souls from the congregation, disintegrating into specks of golden dust. The whispers fell silent, replaced by a profound stillness. Ahmed stirred, his chains dissolving into nothingness. Sikandar helped him to his feet as the glow from the walls faded.
You're safe now.
As Sikandar and Ahmed emerged from the church, the first light of dawn broke over Lahore. The air felt lighter, as if the church itself had exhaled its long-held sorrow. The whispers were gone, and the oppressive energy that had haunted the building had vanished. Back in the village, Ahmed was reunited with his family, their tears of relief flowing freely. Sikandar addressed the gathered villagers.
The spirits of the congregation have been freed. They were not evil. They were victims of a tragedy beyond their control. Let this place stand as a reminder of their story, but do not disturb it again.
As Sikandar walked away, his talwar strapped to his back, he couldn't help but reflect on what he had uncovered. The Khooni church was no longer haunted, but its tale of desperation, betrayal, and the dangers of meddling with forces beyond human understanding would live on. And so would Sikandar's journey. More shadows awaited, and Sikandar Shah would be ready.